Hey everyone, it's Conversations as Raiders Thrive. This is episode 4. And for today, we're just going to talk about tips and strategies that we find helpful or how we're managing, because we're thinking that by us having a conversation, it might help you just understand, you know, it's okay to struggle, but it's okay to take one or two strategies and see how it fits. So let's start. We're just going to do a check-in. How are you guys doing? How's Miss Dawson? How's Mr. A? Jump in. Anyone.
I'm doing okay. Taking it one day at a time. Very excited to be back again doing another segment here. But, and I look forward to this because it gives me a chance to once again connect with people and also, put together something that will connect with the students. I'm doing as well as possible. I'm trying my best to, maintain with the ministry standards or the provincial guidelines with regards to, staying home or, social distancing. So that's the difficult part because sometimes I miss family. This past weekend usually is a great opportunity where I'm able to spend time with my loved ones, but I did not get the chance. So I'm trying my best, but I'm using technology and other platforms like this to maintain and kind of hang in there.
Yeah. How about you, Miss Dawson?
I think it's the same. It's just kind of taking it one day at a time. I think too, if I think back like 2 months ago, like everything was new. So like it was kind of exciting to like, connect with friends like online, FaceTime. And now as time kind of continues to go on, like it's like you're looking for things to do that are different and it's hard. The weather's getting nice. You're missing family. It's, 60 some odd days and it gets easier, but it gets harder in different ways, I think.
It's challenging. I find it, what makes us human is to be connected, see each other face to face, the hugging, the touching, the high-fiving, that interaction. And I find that this is challenging all of us, but I find it's really challenging because I can't go see my family. My brother and my sister-in-law had their birthdays in April. There was no get together. There was no cake, right? Not that I mean, it's not all about the cake, but I just find I'm having, obviously I've got good coping skills and I've got self-awareness and that sort of thing, but I find it really challenging to not exercise our humanity, what makes us human, because what makes us human is being taken away from us, right? Don't get close to people, keep your distance from them, all this video talking. We weren't created to talk through a computer screen. Yeah, so, like you guys, it's hard. I have good days and bad days.
I totally agree. I think it's the mere fact that we can't. I think sometimes just knowing that you can, access people, you can, drop by somebody's house, go visit somebody, go places and, and be spontaneous, kind of gives us the, that sense of, fulfillment in a sense, right? Just that privilege of having that freedom. So knowing that at this point we cannot makes it very, very, very difficult. Actually, in my place of residence, my condo here, we've had an individual who recently, they announced that somebody has COVID or contracted it in the building. So just immediately, everybody's kind of heightened again, kind of extremely distancing from each other. So these are all things that, kind of just create a little bit of, frustration and anxiety. But at the same time, you have to do what you have to do to just to kind of keep safe and keep other people safe too.
I find it's a fine. Oh, go ahead, Ms. Dawson.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say it's a fine line. Wait, It's a fine line between getting caught up in the paranoia and realizing, wait, we don't have to get caught up in the paranoia because we can wear masks. That's proven to lower the risk. Non-medical masks, that is. Wash your hands, keep your distance. So I find it's a challenge between not getting caught up in the hysteria and the paranoia, but realizing, wait a minute, there is some control that we have. We're not helpless or hopeless.
I think that was one of the first strategies I used, was to stop watching the news. I found myself becoming obsessed with watching it, and obsessed with the numbers, and obsessed with what's going on. And, you know, how is Ontario doing today? How is Canada doing today? What's happening in the States? So I think one of my first strategies was stop the news. And I did for a couple of weeks. Like, I didn't even want to, whatever I heard or saw, I wasn't intentionally seeking out any news, because it was starting to drive that paranoia and that constant worry.
Yeah. I found same thing. I had to limit my news. Then I budgeted. So I'm going to check the news, but I'm going to check it during the day. But I'm only going to scroll on my phone with CBC.
Right.
Maybe read an article or two, but I'm going to give myself no more than like 20, 30 minutes checking the news. And then a tip I found out, and I shared in yesterday's daily video, not shameless self-promotion, sorry. There's the professor that I was mentioning, Dr. Jordan's, was talking about a palate cleanser. So if you do want to watch the news and it tends to be heavy and distressing, clean the palate of your mind and watch something funny afterwards to shift that mental focus with the heaviness and the despair and the bad news. Shift that focus and clean the palate of your mind by watching something funny, your favorite TV show, your favorite YouTuber, something that brings you joy, just to shift that. So that's what I'm also doing. Anything that you find helpful, Mr. A?
Wow, I think for me it's movement. As much as, you know, I thought before all of this that I love just kind of relaxing, I'm realizing that I'm very much so a person that needs to move constantly. So part of my daily routine, I didn't do it this morning yet, but I will, you know, go for a walk in the morning, and even based on as far as I can go sometimes, you know, and then I'll turn back around and come home. But and it doesn't have to be a run, you know, because not every day I could run, but I find that just getting out and, you know, absorbing the sun and kind of, you know, getting out of bed and, you know, forcing myself to get out there tires me out sometimes. And also kind of allows my mind to just clear my mind. Sometimes just walking, whether I'm listening to music or just, you know, listening to the birds, it's something that really kind of helps me in the morning. So that's a morning strategy that I use. And then throughout the day, I also try to limit my naps because you're home sometimes, because you get bored, you know, boredom, sometimes the lack of stimulation, you start feeling tired, you know. So I try very hard to limit my naps. So sometimes I've put together, okay, I'm going to do some work and then I'm going to just switch up the activity so that I'm not doing the same thing for a long time. So I break up my day rather, just to kind of keep myself doing different things so I don't quickly get into boredom, because that's something I'm actually struggling with a bit. Because usually, think about our natural work environment, you know, we're always hearing noise, people are coming in and all this stuff. So you're used to kind of having that stimulated environment. So being kind of at home, that was my biggest challenge, but it's getting better.
So that makes me think of too how people struggle in different ways, because like you said, you live in a condo. So for you, being outside all day isn't really an option. You don't have a backyard to go to. You don't have, you know, gardening to do. You don't have. So that's how I think we're all in this together, and we keep hearing that common theme, but we're all also struggling in our own ways, right?
Yes. Yes. Some people are easy. So yes, in a school we are stimulated, you know, especially in our role. Teachers come to us, hey, can you look after this? Or we got to work on this, or Raiders Thrive, or Mental Health Awareness Week, or whatever. And some people are really good that now that they're home, they can stimulate themselves. They can find their own outlets, take whatever courses, or, you know, I'm sure there are students who are really good at keeping on top of their schoolwork that the teachers are posting. But then there are a lot of students who are like, they don't know how to stimulate themselves or entertain themselves, you know,
or motivate,
or keep busy, or motivate, or
the big challenge is we're all being forced to, you know, tap into different skills. Sometimes it's self-teaching, you know, all these different things, you know, just being independent and how we engage in academics. So I think for the students, it's it requires a different level of focus, right?
Mm.
Really just, but also being mindful that it takes time. You know, you're learning new skills right now, you're trying new things. So just because you're not being successful at it, I think nobody could say they've mastered this uncertain situation that we're in. It's something
Yeah.
that we're trying each day. When you find something that works, you find a schedule that works. Just trying to your best to, you know, repeat the things that work. You know, when you have a good day, kind of ask yourself, okay, why was I productive today? And then
Yeah.
kind of make your notes from there, and then trying to repeat that the next day.
I find I'm trying to do different things. Maybe not every day, but as long in a week, can I exercise maybe one or
Mm-hmm.
2 days? Because that really helps. I find if I do something creative, so I have some DIY sewing projects. So if I spend some time doing that, it just taps into a different part of me that I can access and it helps me get through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think challenging yourself to do new things is, it's, I think, what really kind of helps give you that, you know, burst of energy. Like I don't watch TV. I try not to, although there's a TV behind me right now. I don't watch it. I don't know the last time I turned it on, just because I'm trying not to get comfortable watching,
Yeah.
consuming, you know. So
Hmm.
rather just challenging myself constantly to just do new things, whether it's read. And I struggle to read consistently. So just things like that, things that are will kind of challenge me so that it kind of gives me a different outlet.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
watch TV, but like last night, what was on TV again? Moneyball, the movie by with Brad Pitt,
Hmm.
and it's based on the Oakland A's and Billy Bean,
Hmm.
and I love that movie. I don't like that is one of my favorite movies, which seems odd because it's a baseball movie, but who knew that it was
A
only in
good one.
oh yeah, and who knew that it was only in 2001 where it was a huge shift to look at baseball players and their stats and to create the stats.
Hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
just yeah, it was just I just love that movie. I don't know why. So I'll watch stuff that entertain and
Yeah.
take shift the focus off the whole coronavirus or
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the stuff coming from the States, it's all division and yeah, I want to be entertained, make me laugh. And
Mm-hmm.
Brad Pitt is kind of easy on the eyes too. So,
I think just trying new things is definitely, and I never really thought about it as self care before, but I know puzzles are huge right now. Coloring, I've never really been a big colorer, but I find myself doing that a little bit more. And also just things like uh, face masks and painting my nails. Like I don't do that kind of stuff, but I'm finding, and maybe it's boredom, but it's self care too, right?
yeah. Yeah. And I've heard of some students who now that pressure, right, the pressure of school isn't as thick, like it's not really there. And so one student is knitting and baking bread. And I just thought, how
Mm-hmm.
cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
We
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
have a student in 2020 who's knitting and
Mm.
baking bread.
No.
Actually, I have to go pick up my tie dye kit today.
Nice. Yeah. So,
No.
any other new tips or new skills or new things that you guys are trying?
I think I just think like this is a great time to challenge yourself. You know, just in general. You know, if there's something that you wanted to, you know, master, you have the time now.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something that you wanted to, you know, achieve, you could focus and plan it out now. I think, you know, just even being able to connect with family members that traditionally you have not been able to. We have grandparents, we have cousins. This is a great time to work on those relationships.
Yeah.
So really, you know, challenge yourself to do something new. Sometimes it's doing something for somebody else. So if you have family, you're living with your mom, your dad, you have younger siblings, help them out. That's also a great time. This is a great time to do all those things that usually sometimes we're so busy in our own lives that we forget about. So make this moment count, and
Yeah.
that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Can I piggyback on that and say it's a good time to master a skill, but I find that because we've been given this, well, most of us have been given this time, right? People in healthcare don't really have this time. But this is a good opportunity if you can to tap into one of your passions Forget about what the world says. But if, say, baking bread is something that you wanted to do, this is it. This is the time. Or if you want to learn painting, this is a great time because you're not busy with the regular school life demands. You've got this gift of some time. Learn to do something creative.
I think the best thing is owning the moment, right?
Yes.
Once you start understanding that, okay, we're in this situation, everybody's in it, but what can I achieve? What can I focus on? How can I feel like, I'm in control, or I'm gaining more ground in this? So just kind of switching your mindset around how you're processing the negative and rather the positive and the benefits that you gain, and making this about yourself and your family. It helps a bit more just to kind of take our attention off all the negative that's around us.
Absolutely. And I think I've been thinking, as you guys have been talking about two positive things that have kind of come out of this, I find like normally, especially on social media, we're so used to comparing ourselves to others and, oh, look what so-and-so did this weekend, or look how much fun they're having. And that's kind of off the table right now because we're all just hanging out, kind of doing the same thing, but in different homes and different instances, right? So that comparison has kind of gone away, as well as I'm finding I'm connecting with neighbors and I'm meeting people that I didn't even know lived 3 houses down, because we're all walking multiple times a day and we're all stopping and talking to each other. I think I find people are being a little bit nicer to each other, whether it's because they're craving some sort of, connection with somebody that's not in their household, or they're just, I don't know, in a better mood. I don't know what it is, but those are definitely two positives that I definitely feel on a daily basis.
Yeah. Mr. A, you mentioned about mastering something. I find that moving chaplaincy into the virtual world and creating these videos, this is the craft I feel I'm kind of learning and mastering. It's my creative outlet. So
You're good at it too.
Well, knock on wood. We'll see. But yeah, like, I find that if I didn't have this, and not just with you two, doing the daily videos, or now I'm getting the STA morning crew, and every Friday we're doing a video. If I didn't have this, I think I'd be struggling a lot more. Right? At least I'm able to put my energies in toward doing still good, right? Reaching the kids, reaching the staff, whoever's watching.
And the most important part about it is the struggle just points to an area of potential growth.
Yes.
So if you're watching this video, these challenges that we have actually are pointing to future areas where you could focus and actually develop yourself, because the interesting thing about it is we're all being affected differently, so really just kind of look at how you're being affected and how you can grow from this experience, and be able to kind of add new skill sets that will make you a better, more complete, more self-sufficient individual.
Super. I think that's a good way to end our 4th episode. So just a reminder to all the viewers out there, all 20 of you, kidding. Feel free to email us if there's anything you want us to chat about or address. We're here for you. We are your STA mental health care team, and we're in it with you, and we're here to be with you and to have your back. All right. Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
See you.